Okay, so today is Saturday, and that is the Jewish Sabbath. I've been thinking about the Sabbath recently because of thinking about the incubation process. And Sabbath for me is connected to that process. Um, I believe Sunday is the Christian Sabbath and Friday is the Islamic Sabbath. So the three Western traditions all honor the Sabbath in their own ways. But when we go back to I was thinking about, I read this book by R.E.A. Kaplan about the Sabbath from the Jewish mystical perspective, and it really kind of opened my eyes to what this really is. Um, what Rabbi Kaplan, no relation to me, what Rabbi Kaplan talked about was how the idea behind the Sabbath, all the rituals and all that stuff, is actually not the point. Those are the tools to get us to the point. The point is Sabbath consciousness. And what Sabbath consciousness is best way to describe it, as I understand it, is for 6 days a week, we co-create with the divine. We co-create with nature. We manipulate nature, and we're supposed to do that. That's our driven. We build fires, we build homes, everything we do, we're kind of co-creating with nature. So we're working with nature. We're building things. We're creating. So for 6 days we create, and the seventh day, the idea is that the seventh day we take a rest from co-creating and let creation be itself. And what I like about that concept is we give ourselves, it's like we step outside of the creative cycle and just observe it and be with it and surrender into it. And I think that's important. That's kind of the incubation process, because if we're always just creating, we're not receiving. And in order for us to create innovative new forms, we need to receive something from beyond our old construct field. So how do we do that? And I think one of the ways is like one day a week. I think these traditions have kind of got something going on there from the mystical perspective, in that it's built into the weekly cycle that we create and then we rest from creation. We incubate, and this incubation is not just from the spiritual perspective. It's not just about incubating to create more. It's also about nearness, becoming closer to that source. So it's not just if you're doing a project and you take a day off and it incubates for it. It's more getting to the root of creative energy itself, and that we learn through practice of creating and then being in Sabbath consciousness, being in that empty state and observing creation, let creation be. We are building up the capacity to connect with that source and honor that source. And so to receive from that source, not just for a particular project, but to receive the channel, to open our channel. So I love that. And so I was thinking about that today, how it really is connected to this incubation. And part of me was torn because I feel I've made this commitment to, at least for 45 days, to draw and do these videos. It's like my foundation here. And so I I meditated on it. Do I do this or do I not do this? And then I got, that, well, for these 45 days, this is an experiment, so this is what I'm going to do. So, and I'm thinking about Sabbath consciousness as I'm doing it, and that's why I'm talking about it here too. Um, so while I'm not totally immersed in it, I'm doing a lot. I'm thinking about it, and I'm observing as I am manipulating creation. I am thinking about what that does and what's the difference, and but talking about Sabbath consciousness, in the past I've gotten really into it, and one of the things I think is beautiful is in the Judaic tradition, they really is in the Orthodox Judaic tradition, they go really hardcore, and you don't turn on lights. You kind of really kind of get into this, not manipulating reality in any way, as much as you can. And I did one time. I spent a Sabbath with my dear cousins who are Orthodox, and they're not hard. They're not the kind of Orthodox where they're not really judgmental Orthodox, because some people, some fundamentalists, can get really hardcore. They're very beautiful people, and they're very open and loving, and they practice these, So that reminded me of the mystical component of the Sabbath. And so, anyways, I spent the Sabbath with them, and it was an amazing experience to really kind of let go of all the things, all the making and the doing for a whole day. It's very intense, even to the point where the night before, they put food on the stove. They make a certain food where it just cooks for 24 hours, and you go to the pot and you take it out and you eat it, So it's like it's a continuous thing. So it's not like you're turning anything on and off, It's like I know that's a little cheap, but we're talking about a state of consciousness. So in the state of consciousness, there's something there I need to eat, minimum. It's not a day to eat fancy stuff, or it's like this is sustenance, and I'm allowed to do that, But it's in a way that's minimal action. Anyway, so I'm not saying we should all do this, but I'm talking about this concept of taking time, a day, an hour, an hour. Like some people actually try to do it an hour a day, to kind of create that space. And it's a pure meditation practice, because it makes you hyper aware of doing this. And what I think is beautiful about it is that it's a time of beingness, not doing this. And that's beautiful. For me, that's what Sabbath consciousness is all about, is often we get caught in doing this and we lose touch with our beingness. And when we let go of doing this, beingness is just what's there. And then we start getting much easier, it's an easier time to get in touch with the present moment and our beingness in that moment. And that is Sabbath consciousness. That is, that stillness, that peace. There's a peace there too, that you're not doing, you're just being. And so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit today, because that's what this day is supposed to be energetically. So I'm holding it, and I'm thinking about how in my life I could reincorporate the Sabbath consciousness incubation period as kind of a scheduled thing. And I think that's part of the great thing, is if you can look at your life and find what would be a good groove, what would be a good rhythm to doing this and being this, and making time to let go of doing this and to be in beingness. So that's what I'm thinking about today, and namaste. Peace out and be.